getting to the root of it all with both sides, guy or girl, and developing those relationships, building those rapports. That's what lays the foundation for you to really be able to coach a kid. Um, and so that's the foundation of my coaching philosophy is just building relationships, letting you know that, hey, I'm here for you as a person first, a student second, and an athlete third. If you become the best personal version of yourself after you've been with me, I did my job. If you are successful as a student after you've been with me, then I did my job. And if you had a positive experience with me as an athlete and that leads to a scholarship or some other different type of opportunity for you down the road, I more than did my job. That's the icing on the cake, cherry on top of the sundae for me. But I want them first two.
I love you, Daddy.
This is For Fathers, a podcast for fathers to uplift and encourage each other with the understanding that we are the forefathers of the next generation. This is episode 120. I got my man Brandon Moore, man. Tell everybody what's up.
Hey, what's going on, people? Good to be with you all this evening.
Man, it's a blessing to have you, man. I really appreciate you hopping on. I know, like I said, we was talking about off air, man. It took a little time. We're both busy, and I was trying to do this master thing, man. It's taking me out. It's taking me out.
I hear that, man. Gotta keep the train moving, though, no doubt.
Yeah, man. You actually telling me that you got your master's in business, man. So what made you even go into that?
So, and back in undergrad, man, I actually majored in political science in college. And through that, I decided I wanted to pursue a career in corporate law as a contract and negotiations litigation attorney is what I aspired to. So I picked up a minor in business administration along with my one in religious studies as well, and let that carry me through. Graduated in 2004. Got into a master's program in 2005 through Strayer University. Finished that up in 2008. Had a couple of stop starts in there, life getting in the way type of thing. But, was able to knock that out. I became a dad for the first time when I was in undergrad, just before I turned 22. So I was 21. My oldest daughter was born. She'll be 23 in May. I got a 19-year-old. I got a 12-year-old, soon to be 13. Jesus Christ, help me, teenage years again. And actually also have my first grandchild is on the way as well from my 19-year-old. Yeah, so you see that the extra grays up top, or coming through. That's where it's all come from. All girls too. Got all girls, man. I tell God has a twisted sense of humor sometimes with the way he works things out, man. But all for his will and all for his glory, man. We just hang in here and we keep pushing forward.
Yeah, man. Hey, being a girl dad's the best. You know me, I got all girls too. It's the best, man. And I kind of twist it. You know how everybody say, well, you get guys giving you a payback and stuff like that. But now I really say that he knows how much love I can give. And so he gave me girls because I have the heart to have girls and they need to be raised up by a strong man. So that's how I twisted him in my favor now. So it's not, always looking at it in a negative light.
Hey, man, I appreciate that one. I might have to borrow that one, brother.
Go ahead, steal that and shed that. Because steal it and share it, everybody, man. So, man,
Indeed.
Undergrad having a kid. So 21, you're probably like a junior or so, right? or roughly maybe, or maybe a sophomore, junior.
Yes,
And so not only did you
junior.
finish grad, but you went and did a master's and stuff too, man. How was that having a kid and then continuing on in your education? I know that got to be hard.
It was really hard, man. And my first job out of college was as a co-manager with Kroger, and so that came with a pretty much a mandatory 52-hour work week,
Sheesh.
um, which usually end up averaging closer to 60 if we're being honest about it. Because in management in a retail environment, you're not just you might be directly overseeing a particular department within the store, but you really are responsible for the entire store. And so just having to always stay on top of the plans from week to week and dealing with inventory management, customer issues, facility engineering, which is basically how the store operates and runs and make sure all the machines and everything does what it's supposed to do. It can be a lot, man. I had a few 16, 18-hour days in there while I
Mm.
was doing that job, especially during inventory times. So balancing all of that with the parenthood and um, trying to work towards planning a wedding, getting married, and ups and downs of relationships with myself and my now wife, then girlfriend and fiance, all of that type of stuff. It was a lot, brother. But I'm thankful that we had the support system in place that we had that helped us navigate that, especially on the parenthood side of it all. The grandparents, her dad and stepmom, my mother, and her mother really came together as a unit um, to help us make sure that she could finish school, finish undergrad. I could keep trucking and pushing on, but that we had that network in place for the baby. So it was tough, but we made it through.
Ain't nothing like having that community, right? I mean that makes or break it. Parenting in general, man. Like even not in college, having that community, like just having that a break or just having somebody to lean on when you need to go do something, when you have the long days at work or whatever the case may be, it creates a lot more stress when you ain't got that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like I said, I don't know how we could have really made it work without having that support system in place. To be honest with you, I think that the stress of it all would have been way too much for us, and we might not have made it as a relationship, and then that creates a whole split household, broken home dynamic. That for me and mine, that's what we wanted to avoid most of all for ours, because that's where we came from. We're both broken home environments, myself and my wife. So we definitely wanted not to have that happen for our children. We wanted to break that particular generational curse by any means necessary.
That's what's up, man. So I did the opposite. My dad came from that kind of household, and then my mom didn't. Uh, but then we was raised in a two parent, and then I went ahead and had my split household, couple baby mamas here and there. So I did the exact opposite, man. If I wish now, man, looking back, wish I was more locked in. Of course, just because you want to be there every step of the way. So I mean, I applaud you for that, man. I wanted to ask, did you once you find out she was pregnant, did you like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get married, or you already on that track?
I don't, I won't say one or the other. We were really just the relationship was pretty new as far as like being locked in and like totally committed to each other on an exclusive level for real. Um,
Hmm.
so when you get to that stage, then yeah, the marriage starts to come into the picture. You start thinking about it a little bit down the road, type of thing. But yeah, it was. Oh boy, it was tough. It was tough. How it goes, man. The stronger the commitment is, the more opposition you're gonna face in order to maintain it and continue to move forward. And so as soon as our minds started moving in that direction, things got harder for us. Um,
Mm.
but like I said, we were able to weather the storms and endure, push through, and we coming up on 20 years married this August. We've been together for 24, as in come May, all together. So I can't complain, brother. I can't complain. Great grace and mercy has brought us through for sure.
It always does, man. Congrats on that, man. That's awesome. And that's
Thank
a
you.
feat in itself. That's dope, man. 20 years, man. Sheesh. I can imagine. I just hit one. So I'm like, dang, 20 years sound like a long way away.
Listen, man, I tell everybody it feels like yesterday and forever ago at the same time, man. Honestly,
Hmm.
the time has gone by so quickly, and I can remember things, almost on an encyclopedic level as far as like things that have happened over the years, man. Like I said, it feels like yesterday, but forever ago at the same time. Because you look at some pictures from back then, everything looks different from what
Yeah.
it used to, the way it used to look like to now, man. You can see how the age and the years have taken its toll, man. But they say black don't crack, so we still hanging, holding strong, bro. We still holding strong.
Right. So I guess what would be the biggest lesson that you learned from fatherhood over the last 20 years, or yeah, 20 years, because and then the biggest lesson from marriage as well. What would be those things over the last 20, 21 years?
The biggest lessons from fatherhood are figuring out how to handle the transition in ages and points in your children's lives. Um, right now, I'm having a hard time dealing with the fact that two of my three are, by all intents and purposes, legally at least, are adults, and
Mhm.
dealing with their ability to choose for themselves and figure out how to navigate life on their own, and trying not to feel some type way about the choices that they made, which end up being contrary to how I would want them to do, or how my wife thinks they should do, and all of that. And she and I have totally different perspectives in that regard as well. Um, but we communicate and try to find that middle ground, understanding each other's mindsets and standpoints on those subjects, and really just breaking it down to taking it one day and one thing at a time. I guess that ties into the marital part as well. Um, Patience truly is a virtue, but having a heart and a mind that's open to experience and open to understanding, um, really is the key to both of those, parenthood as well as marriage. Um, because over the years, man, things change, people change, um, but the core principles don't change. If anything, they deepen, um, and they become more rooted and grounded as you go on. Um, like the story of the prodigal son, they might go off and go their own way and take some hard knocks in terms of living life and its experiences. But at some point, they're gonna come back home. But you got to give them the room to do that. Got to give them the room to do that. And as much as it hurts, and as much as you might want to save them from whatever it is, you also got to protect your own peace at the same time. Um, and me being having a protective nature by default, I've always been that way, looking out for other people, much to my own detriment, more often than not. Honestly, being loyal to a fault, um, it's a hard learning curve.
Man, I'm not ready for the transition. I like what you talked about, how that transition from ages, like how your kids are transitioning. I'm not ready, man. My oldest, she 10, about to be 11 at the end of near the end of the year, starting to get a little more sneaky. They're starting to do stuff she ain't normally do before. I'm like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready, my guy. And then just from them always being under you to them wanting to be in their room all the time. So you said it was a little struggle for you to handle
That
that, and
part.
then you got adults now. So like, I guess what was the hardest part for you to handle as the age? Was it them, like, because you have girls, man? They want to be cuddling with them, you want to be with them. Like, what was the hardest part for you in that transition phase?
The hardest part for me, man, is honestly just wanting them to I naturally want them to do better than myself and my wife have done. I want them to take that next step forward beyond us, realizing completely that they are not perfect by any stretch of the imaginations, and that they're going to have their slip ups and shortcomings and all of that, right? Um, but again, like I said, being also willing to let them learn those hard lessons on their own through their experiences, um, letting them suffer those consequences the same way that my wife and I we had to, both individually and collectively. We had a lot of false slips and falls and bumps in the road along these 20-24 years. So experience is the best teacher, but it's definitely guaranteed to probably be more painful in that
Yeah.
teaching than it will be painless. In all honesty.
Oh yeah, man. You got that cement hard. You know, the floor always wins when you fall. The floor always wins.
Hard head make a soft, you know what?
Yeah. Man, and then you talk about patience with your wife. And like I said, I'm a year in, so I'll have no marriage advice, man. But I do know patience, and it's not necessarily because she's not horrible or not like that, but still, there's like in my own, I guess, in my own mental. You know what I mean? Because used to doing stuff by yourself, and you want things your ways, and then she just like I'm from New York originally. My wife from Mississippi. It's like a clash of culture a little bit. Like I'm like why y'all
Hmm.
doing it like that? Never makes sense. Like you know what I mean? So that patience, man, you saying something, man. I'm still learning.
Yeah, I'm like me, man. I'm a Carolina boy, all the way, born, bred, ain't never left it or whatnot. My wife is from Mechanicsville, Georgia, in the heart of Atlanta. She from the PJs. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
So even though we're both Southern born and bred, she got a little bit different spin on it because she grew up in you know that metropolitan area type of
Mm-hmm.
situation. So the way she looks at a lot of things is way different from myself as well. But that's where that commitment to understanding and listening and conversing really comes into play, because two people can be saying the same thing, but they're saying it in two different ways with different sets of words, and so it comes off differently. And sometimes they don't hit the same either. um,
Mm-hmm.
so over that time, the time and experience, man, we found out that a lot of things that we thought we were completely opposites on, we're actually speaking the same language, just using different terminology. And also, people get into this whole zodiac situation. She's a Capricorn, I'm a Leo. We are not supposed to match. We are not supposed to be compatible. Yet and still, though, we've held on and held out longer than almost everybody we were in school with as far as our relationship. Other folk have been married two, three, four times and divorces and all types of stuff, man. And yet and still, we've been the constant. We've been the standard that everybody else we were in school kind of been looking at like, how in the world? And just like, man, look, God is great. God is good. And you keep him at the centerpiece as well as at the forefront of whatever you got going on. He'll make sure he take care of you for real. Even when you slip, you fall, you mess up, his grace is more than sufficient to carry you through. And so we just lean on that, man. At the end of the day, all hell can be breaking loose, and we gonna still lean back on God and His Word, man, and our church family, our families. We got a great support system in place across the board, man, on all fronts, naturally, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. So if you got that community around you, there's some great things that can come to you and through you, uh, by way of that community. It makes the load a lot easier to carry.
It surely do. And Christ is that foundation, that solid rock, no matter what storm. When a storm come through, man, you're gonna stand firm. That's awesome, man. So since we on that, man, you say you went in the undergrad for religious studies. Did you study all the religions and then come to believe in Christianity, or how did that shape your worldview or your
Raised
spiritual view? Per
Christian.
se?
Born and raised as a Christian. When I picked up the religious studies minor, we studied Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, and there was one more. I think it was Confucianism. That was a trip. And what you find through that study, man, is that there are way more similarities than differences in those belief systems. And you really, an individual just has to lock in and figure out what do you believe in as a person. Um, what has your experience been, and what has that experience taught you? And that's what directed my path and locked my path into Christianity. I have seen the hand of God work in my life way too strongly, way too many times to believe anything else. I've seen the face of God myself. I should have been dead and gone multiple times over, but if not for His grace and His mercy, I surely would be. Um, and by no means am I a Bible thumper or holier than thou individual. I have my faults, I have my flaws, I have my vices, I have my things that I struggle with still to this day. Um, I accepted Christ at 15 years old. I'll be 45 in July. So 30 years on this walk, I still ain't got it all right. And I'm okay with the fact that I'll never get it all right. That's what His grace is for, um, to pick you up when you don't get it right. As long as you have a heart for in your repentance that's true, and that you're going to continue to strive to push towards that mark for the prize of the high calling, which is in Christ Jesus. He not asking for nothing else. He's just asking for our best effort day to day, really and truly. That's what it boiled down to. Be the best version of yourself for His glory, day in and day out. And He's good with you, and He's ready to pick you up when you do fall. Um, he's ready to hold you down when everything else around you is holding you up, and vice versa. So that's what it breaks down to me, man. That ain't nothing better than Him.
You ain't never lie. Like you said earlier, man, His grace is sufficient. It is sufficient. Like you say, you seen him move, man, way too many times. You saw His face, He revealed Himself to you. Man, His grace is sufficient. I lean on that all the time, man. Like you say, you ain't gonna be perfect. But so in that, man, you raising kids in a Christian household, man, what did that look like for you? Raising your daughters and in Christ. Like, what did you do? Did you do Bible studies? Like how? What did that look like?
Bible studies, formally and informally, as far as just sitting down as a family, going over different lessons, going to our own church's Bible studies on a weekly basis when the schedule allowed, um, having conversations that always seem to end up coming back to a spiritual and a biblical foundation, to support whatever that particular conversation was at the time. Um, teaching my kids and showing my kids how to pray, letting them know that prayer is any thought directed upward. It doesn't have to be all scripted and formal. You can talk to God as if He one of your homies sitting right beside you. He gonna understand because He locked in with you like that for real. Um, and then just being okay with them having the opportunities to see God work in their lives on their own, was important as well. My kids have been raised in the fear and admonition of God, but not to a overbearing level to where what I'm saying they feel like they have to walk this tightrope, or whatnot. I mean, like I said, I'm getting ready to be a granddaddy to a child coming from my 19-year-old. We know that she not married. You know what I'm saying? That's the opposite of perfection in that regard, type of thing. But nonetheless, I believe that despite how I might feel about it right now, um, ultimately that child is going to be a blessing to our family. It's the next generation coming forth and into fruition. So I have to deal with my emotions about that on my own, between me, myself, and God, and then still be able to be and continue to be the best example of Christ as a man, um, for my daughter as she enters this next phase of her life, becoming a mother, as well as being that support system for that grandbaby on the way. Um, I can't lie to you though, it hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts for real. Um, this is not what I wanted for my child right now. My mother told me she when I was in college, she's like, boy, do me a favor. I said, what, mama? She said, don't get married, don't have no kids before you turn 30. I said, well, why 30? She said, because in your 20s are about exploration and discovery and figuring out what you want to do, who you want to be, and how you want to be that person. Um, having being married and having kids can make that a lot more difficult than maybe it has to be. And I listened. I said, all right, mama, I feel you. That makes sense. Uh, but they say tell God your plans and watch him laugh at you.
You're right.
At 21, I'm a dad. So that gave me another lesson in responsibility, another lesson in time management. And I did not, I had no, I had no aspirations to be married or to be a parent. In all honesty, at all, I did not. Um, because the only thing I wanted to be responsible for in my life was me. Not trying to
Hmm.
be selfish or anything, but I didn't want to fail my wife. I didn't want to fail my kids. Um, and so the fear of that was what drove that desire at the time to not have any of that, to not deal with any of that. Um, but God took it and flipped it completely on his head on a 180 tip, and I got a solid marriage. I got three beautiful daughters. Um, got them out of high school. My oldest is a tech for Apple. She has a really great job. Um, she's still trying to push her way through, a post secondary education as well. Aspires to be a child psychologist. My middle one is, like I said, she's trying to figure out her way and also now navigating this upcoming new normal. And then my baby girl, seventh grade, hooping. All of them hoop. All of them are hoopers.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
all of them are hoopers. So there's still hope for 19 and the 12. To get further with the game. Though it may be difficult, especially for 19 having a baby. All of that type of thing. But I believe she can do it. She can do anything she puts her mind to. She's brilliant. Um, she's just in a different place right now, and we got to get her through that place and to whatever's next for her. So just trying to be that solidarity and support for her, just like our parents were for us when number one came along way back when.
Yeah. Hmm. So, so how are you handling those emotions, man? Because, like you say, she hoop, man. You had aspirations for her, like you want her to do more and be better than what you did, And that's how I said. One of my dad looking at me, wondering, like, having a kid. I had it at 20. Had my oldest at 23, oldest biological at least at 23. And I was about to be done with college, but I wanted to go pro and he wanted me to go pro. So man, how you even dealing with those emotions, man? And even couple that with like your fear of failure, are you still dealing with that like in different areas of life, I guess?
I am. I am. By no means have I completely overcome that that worry, that trepidation of failing. I worry about failing every day, and then when I get to the end of said day, I made it through it. That's a success. That's a win. That's victory. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I couldn't lie to you, man. I've been in crying fits all weekend on a variety of different levels for a variety of different things. Just waves of emotions just hitting at random. I, I was watching the movie Almost Christmas earlier today with Danny Glover and Gabrielle Union, Monique, Kimberly, and all of them in it.
Oh,
From
I think I know you're
I
talking
guess at
about.
least a decade ago that movie was. I was watching that joint and it was having flashbacks to when the mother in the movie who had passed away, had been dead for a year by the time they're in their present moment, was still around, and the cooking and the supporting and events and all that type of stuff. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, that person is no longer there. And it brought me back to uh, 2023. When the year 2023 started, um, I was entering my second semester teaching at Nightdale High School. Um, January 6th, I think it was, of that year. Fourth period is the last period day, but it's the first day of the second semester of the school year. Um, Classes coming in. I got one student not trying to come in. He actually was a EC student in the OCS program, Occupational Course of Study. So being a CTE teacher, they got to take a certain amount of those classes just in their curriculum. And really, they're moving at like half pace of the regular student, so to speak. He was, arguing with his case manager about not wanting to come into class. And so I let that ride for a second and let the case manager deal with that on his front. And I looked in the classroom, and there was a student in there that the OCS kid had pretty significant beef with just a few months prior to, like, really tried to get into a big fight with this kid. Um, he saw him, he was like, Coach Moore, I don't want to go in there because somebody in there that I don't like. And I looked in there and I seen who it was, and I instantly knew this was not going to work. And so I told him, I said, look, man, just come in. It's day one. Just come in, sit right here in the seat by the door. We're going to take roll. We're going to go over classroom rules real quick for the semester. I said, then I'm going to walk you right back down to your case manager. Don't trip. I got you. He came in and sat down, but he couldn't contain himself. The bell rung. I couldn't even get into any kind of introductions or anything like that before him and the other one were trading shots back and forth across the room. And he talking about this other boy's mama, what he done to her, what he gonna do to her, what he want to do to her, just all kinds of out of pocket stuff.
Wow.
That if he had been talking to me for real, it'd have been on and cracking for seriously. He was getting that disrespectful. And my man sat across on the other side of the room as long as he could before he had to get up. He couldn't take it no more. And so we end up, the way the classroom was set up, I had a big open space directly in the middle of the room. And that's where they met, at me. I got one on one side, one on the other. And I've got them clutched by their collars of their shirts and pushing them apart like the walls of Jericho, man. They push in and try to get at each other. I push them back out. They push in, I push them back out. And I tell them, I said, look, man, y'all big, but y'all combined still ain't stronger than me. I need you to go sit down. And so the OCS kid is still ranting and raving, wilding out. So I just look at the normal kid and say, look, do me a favor. If you don't want your football career to be put at risk and anything else, you're trying to turn over this new leaf from your previous disciplinary problems, go back over here and sit down. He's like, all right, coach, I got you. I let him go. He goes and sat down. I immediately pivot. I pick the other one up off the floor, and I am carrying him out the classroom. I get to the threshold of the doorway, and he shouts something else back in the classroom at old boy that I dare not ever repeat because it was that bad. And he couldn't hold it no more. He came running. So I guess a teacher down the hall, the next door, heard it or whatnot. So he come out in the hallway. He's like, Coach Moore, you all right? I said, take this one. And I threw the OCS kid to him. I hit a drop step, and I caught the other one as he was trying to come through the door. Next 7-8 minutes, man, we in the hallway doing a dance routine, keeping these boys apart from each other. And somewhere in there, I broke my left thumb, tore a ligament in it, ripped up my shoulder in the midst of all this foolishness. And that just started like a downward spiral of stuff, man. Because the end of that week, I had my uncle pass, my great uncle pass. 2 weeks later, my great aunt passed. And then 2 weeks after that, my grandmother who raised me on Super Bowl Sunday, she passed. So all those injuries, all those deaths, and then all the rest of what life could throw at me just kept hitting. And honestly, really and truly, I've been broken ever since. But through that brokenness, I'm also still being built and rebuilt. Um, and so sometimes you have those. It's like a construction project or a redevelopment project. You're gonna have certain setbacks. Weather gonna get in the way. Inventory might not get to the site where you needed to be when you need to be there. You might have to fire some personnel or whatnot, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Um, the process is filled with pain, but it's also been filled with productivity because I've had a lot of wins along the way, small ones, small ones. Haven't had many big ones since then. These last 3 years, I've had enough small ones to still help me keep it all in perspective. You know what I'm saying? And I understand that the season ain't gonna last forever. It began, but it's also gonna end. And as long as I can make it to the end of that, this whatever this season is, then you know what I'm saying, I'll be better and I'll be blessed for it. Um, but it's all for His glory. It's something He wants me to get out of this season that I'm in right now. So I'm just trying to keep my eyes open and focus, and keep my ears open so I can hear, and keep my heart open so I can receive. And that's helped me continue to do the work like I'm doing now. I've transitioned into pretty much a full-time role at the teen center and working with these other teens who are coming from a wide variety of different circumstances on their own, while still, you know what I'm saying, maintaining mine on my home front. Um, and it's hard. It's a difficult balance, but that's what I was put here for, is to be that light to help guide these young people on the way to a better life. And it's so far it's been almost 15 years worthwhile, with all things considered. Um, I've been backstabbed, I've been lied on, I've been disrespected. Um, but the end of the day, seeing these kids move on from me and take steps forward, be it academically, athletically, as people overall, whatever it is, and knowing that they reach back and say, "Hey, thank you for ABCD. I appreciate this. I appreciate that." You know what I'm saying? That makes it all worthwhile. It may never add up to what it should monetarily or in financial gain or anything like that, but that service and being faithful in that service, man, it's worth it. It really is worth it.
Yeah, bro, it really ain't nothing like it. It really isn't. That's why I love being a teacher. Just the difference you make. Like you said, the monetarily, man, I ain't gonna make as much as these financial advisors and all that kind of stuff, man. But I'm perfectly content in that. I just love making a difference. And it seems like you in this season, man, like you said, like God has you in this season that so you can grow. Because it's hard to teach somebody else. You might run into somebody that had a similar experience, and it's hard to teach them if you haven't been through it yourself. So all he is building you up, man. That's what he does. He allows you to go through different things so that he could build you up. Like the Bible says that, so that you will know that he's God and God alone. That is by his power and his strength alone, and it's not even our strength. It's him working through us by the Holy Spirit, man. So, man, I continue to pray
Absolutely.
that gets better for you, man, and you continue to learn your lesson and also continue to impart into these kids, man. Nothing like working with kids, bro. I'd never do another job. I always work with kids.
I love it, man. I tell everybody that coaching was the dream that I never knew that I had or that I would want, for real. Just being a former athlete, man, you all you think about is the next play, the next shot, the next tackle, the next hit, whatever it is, depending on your respective sport at the time. And so I never had any aspirations of coaching at all. If I did, then I would have pursued it, that avenue, while I was in undergrad. Honestly, for real,
Mm.
um, I never got to play. I got all offered and everything, had everything set up to play all throughout college for all three sports. Um, but injuries, as soon as I got to school, I started getting hurt. And every year it was something different: a broken ankle, a blown knee, other blown knee, just year after year, back to back to back, man. And so I never got to really, really fulfill that athletic uh, potential. I played in a lot of different environments and semi-pro leagues up and down the East Coast for a few years after college as well. Stuff that you can you could take a couple days off of work here and go get a game in here, that type of thing. But nothing ever really like panned out to where I could drop the full-time gig to go chase this for real, because I got to keep this salary and these benefits to take care of this kid and prepare for this household and all of that. So, I just realized that wasn't in the cards. And then when my oldest daughter turned 8 and decided that, she wanted to play, like she'd been fooling around with it, starting at like age 4 or 5, fooling around with the rock and following me to practices and things like that. And then she's at 8, she finally said, "Daddy, I want to play. Like, I want to play for real. I want to get in the league. I want to play." And so I said, okay. And my whole idea was that I'm going to take her. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be present. You know what I'm saying? And let it rock from that point. Little did I know, my wife went and signed me up. When she went to go sign the kid up, she signed me up to coach.
Yeah.
Behind my back. When did I find this out? 2 weeks later, when the rec center calls me and says, "Hey, Mr. Moore, you've got your registration here that you've been signed up to coach. Are you still interested?" I was like, "What? I didn't sign this. I didn't sign up for this." But I said, "All right." I said, I'm willing to help. I'll be an assistant and whatnot. And I said, hopefully the team, you got enough head coaches or whatever, because like I said, I didn't want to coach. But lo and behold, man, this is God at work again. The guy who was signed up to be the head coach for that particular team, his job took him out of town so much throughout the season that I ended up head coaching really for about 2/3 to 3/4 of the season for real. Took a bunch of 8 and 9-year-old boys and girls and had them looking like the Miami Heat at the time. He was out there running and gunning, ripping and rolling up and down the floor. And I loved it. And I was like, "Oh, this is what I really want to do right here. It was another place to find the joy." It gave me something that you know what I'm saying, that the 9-to-5 in corporate America just couldn't give me. So I stuck with that. And I'm one who believes in starting at the bottom and building up. I don't like skipping steps to anything. And so starting at direct level, foundational understanding of dealing with youth and how they learn and how they listen, that helped me be a better parent, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Dealing with other people's kids on that front as well as with mine at the same time. And then took that to transition to AAU, into interscholastic ball. And now I've even coached a couple semi-pro teams and been looking towards some collegiate opportunities as well. So, the elevation has been consistent. The learning has been exponential over the years. But I did learn the hard way that it's very, very hard to be coach, trainer, and parent all at the same time. My formula is that you can get away with doing 2 out of the 3 at the same time to still maintain some balance. But at the end of the day, the one that you can't put down is parent. And so at a point with both my older 2 daughters, I had to drop out of that as coach and trainer for real and just focus on being dad for them. They both end up cycling back and I end up coaching them again a little bit more down the road. But I had to take them and let them go learn the game and things about the game from somebody else's perspective with somebody else's voice away from me for a minute. Knowing that they're going to completely compare whoever these people are to me and how I do, and that those people will probably never measure up because I have the advantage of being dad. But in the same token, like, you got to, in order to preserve our relationship at home and so we not butting heads and we got problems at the crib, I can't be your coach or your trainer right now. Not at the stage you are, the stage I'm at, I'm good. But the stage you are in your particular life, you're not. That's too much for you. Too much of me for you right now. Um, I think they appreciate now that they're older. I think they appreciate my taking that approach in that regard with them. And I've never coached my little one at all. She asked me the other night. She was like, well, "Dad, why have you ever coached me or one of my teams?" I said, "Because I saw how that did with your older two sisters." I said, "So I wanted you to have a different basketball experience." I said, "Now, ever you reach a point that you want Coach Dad or Trainer Dad to pop in, just know that's a different guy. That's a different individual than your father." You know what I'm saying? So what I say to you when I'm functioning in that role and how I interact with you in that role, that's completely separate from the parent. I'm not gonna talk to you the same way. I'm not gonna be as forgiving with you in the same way when you don't work up to the expected standard or you make mistakes that you know you shouldn't have made. That's gonna come with
Hmm.
a different tone from me. Never gonna be disrespectful, never gonna be abusive, but it's gonna sound different. It's gonna hit different. I was like, so be sure that when you ask me to tap into that you're ready for that. And she understood. She got it. Whether she's gonna ever press that button or not remains to be seen.
Yeah,
But I'm glad
man,
that we were able to have that open, honest conversation about that piece of the equation.
man, that's so awesome, man. I really just thrive for the opportunity just to coach or train my kids. I don't know about coaching because, like you said, that's my switch flips. I ain't the same. I don't know. My kids are a little soft, man. I don't know if they ready for that. But I really just want to see you play basketball, man. You blessed, man. You got all three of your daughters play back. I want them to play so bad. I said at least play through high school. I would love to go to college, of course, but I just want to come watch them play. And I also, of course, I want to train them and stuff like that
Yeah,
too. But I got to see. I put my 6-year-old into a league, so hopefully she likes it, but she like gymnastics. She like flipping around and stuff. But we inside, so I really ain't mad at it. Them outside
yeah.
sports be a killer. I'm good on that.
Listen, man, I try. I've been trying to get mine, all three of mine, at different points to get into soccer and track, maybe with softball or whatnot, and they just wouldn't go for it, man. I just like generational divide, man, generational divide.
Yeah, that took some maturity though on your part to say like, look, I can't be your coach and your daddy. Like, was that hard for you to pull away from that? Like, 'cause, you love coaching, you love being a father, and your kid is playing. Was it hard for you to make that decision, or was it easy because it was just that tumultuous?
With my oldest one, it was the easiest decision to make, because of who she ended up transitioning to as far as being underneath as a coach. He's the one now, one of my best friends in the world. Uh, Probably one of the best people I know overall, and heart is pure. He had his own kids in the mix, and so they are tight and linked up and everything like that. They just like family. So that was a blessing. With my middle one, that was a little bit harder because she at that particular point in time, like she was a lot to deal. She's still a lot to deal with, but she was really a lot to deal with as an adolescent into her teenage years. Just because she's very strong willed and not afraid to use her voice when something doesn't quite line up in her mind the way that she believes it should. And like I said before, um, the comparison is always there with whomever the other coach or is to be at that time, comparing them to me and how I teach and how I train and how I coach, um, or whatnot. And so I said they didn't have a fair fight in comparison to Coach B, Coach Dad. So that was a little tougher with my middle kid, than with my older one. But I think we think we were able to weather the storm and make the best of it all through their high school years at least.
So like you coach boys and girls, right? You say you was coaching JV boys, correct? Recently at Nightdale.
No, at Nightdale, I was directly coaching girls,
Oh,
varsity
okay,
and
okay.
JV girls.
Have you ever coached
But I
boys?
did, yeah, yeah. I was a head coach at Triangle Math and Science Academy in Cary before I went to Nightdale. So I was out there for 2 years, and the only reason I didn't stay was because they kind of made it a mandate that I had to work at the school on a full time
Mm,
basis. And that particular time, I didn't want to do that, and that kind of was how it had been done. It's particularly in Wake County uh, for ages. Yeah, if you wanted to coach any sport, then they were looking for you to be, on campus and available on a day-to-day basis, kind of to have your ear to the street and hands available to deal with any disciplinary problems, stuff like that, or
mhm.
whatever. Um, and even though during the 2 years that I was at Triangle Math and Science, we had no significant disciplinary problems, no fights, um, and every player, student athlete that I worked with on both the boys side as well as the girl side, their grades all increased while I was leading that program. And these are kids who are from multicultural backgrounds. Most of their families come from overseas, Turkey, different nations in Africa, Spain, Mexico, so on and so forth. So I'm dealing with cultural differences, religious differences, uh, parental dynamics, interscholastic dynamics. This is a real anomaly out here that I'm navigating all these different things, and still was able to bring them the winningest 2 years they'd ever had in their young existence. Playoffs, 2 years straight, state playoff contenders, conference championships, whole 9 yards. But because I didn't want to be a teacher or find a different route or a discipline coordinator, whatever. They didn't have that then at that particular point in time for me to do that, because I would have done that with the quickness.
Yeah.
Uh, but I just took that to mean that, hey, I did what I was supposed to do in those 2 years, and it was my time to transition to something else. So that led me to take a year off, which ended up being the COVID year. Um, so I didn't coach anywhere during COVID or anything like that, not until the travel ball season started back up at the end of it. And then I ended up at Nightdale in that following fall of 22, um, coaching, teaching in the whole 9 yards. So yeah,
What you
but so
find
I've
easier?
coached everything.
What you find easier, coaching girls or boys?
I don't know that there is an easier between the two per se.
Yeah.
With boys are more apt to, they just want to be in the gym and on the floor, on the field. That's, you know, you ain't got to pull a whole lot out of them as far as like aggressiveness or what's the word I'm looking for? Assertiveness, I guess you could say. Girls tend to be a little bit more reserved because they're more emotional and they're more cerebral. They're more calculated with how they move and how they do things. Their motivations are different. Boys are just inspired by the athletics of it all. But the girls are usually playing for a different reason. It's usually because either one or both of the parents have played before them, and so they draw their inspiration from that directly, or they're looking for an outlet to fill a void of something that's missing within them, or they're looking for whomever that coach to be to fill that another void that might be existing in their life as well. Maybe they come from that broken home, that divorce, and one parent is displaced from the other, or maybe that one parent was never in the picture to start with. It's just been them and the single parent, whether that was mom or dad. They're looking for that missing piece of the equation, and sometimes they find that through the sport for the girl. So just getting to the root of it all with both sides, guy or girl. And developing those relationships, building those rapports, that's what lays the foundation for you to really be able to coach a kid. Um, and so that's the foundation of my coaching philosophy is just building relationships, letting you know that, hey, I'm here for you as a person first, a student second, and an athlete third. If you become the best personal version of yourself after you've been with me, I did my job. If you are successful as a student after you've been with me, then I did my job. And if you had a positive experience with me as an athlete and that leads to a scholarship or some other different type of opportunity for you down the road, I more than did my job. That's the icing on the cake, cherry on top of the sundae for me. But I want them first two. I really want those first two. I love winning just as much, if not more. I'm the ultimate competitor. But I realize the bigger victory is for them on that personal level and on the educational level before you get to the athletics.
And that's what athletics does. It builds us up personally. Like it helps us. It builds our character. It propels us forward into the work world and how we deal with relationships with other people and all that kind of stuff, man. So I definitely agree with you. That personal level, man. But that means everything. That really is, like you said, I love winning, just like it's like just as much as you. But like we talked about earlier, like when we work with kids for a reason, right? To make a difference in their lives. If I can use basketball as a foundation to make a difference in somebody's life, and no matter if they go past middle school, because I'm in middle school or high school, or even go to college, but like if I made a difference, you could take that. You take that more than a win all over the rest of your life, man. And like when somebody says something to you or shows you something, that just ingrained in your brain. And that's what I want to do, man. That's you too. I think that's just dope.
For sure, man. And I developed that philosophy about myself even before I got into coaching school ball. My first experience in school ball was at Broughton High School. I had applied for a position. Over there. I was just looking for an end, for real. I was just looking for an end. I had done the 3-4 years of rec ball and gotten into AAU ball, and I was like, okay, it's time to take the next step. Let me get into school ball. And found a posting for Broughton and applied for it and kind of cast it out my brain, hadn't thought no anymore about it. And out of the blue one day, I got a call saying they were looking for a coach. They had come back around to my application and resume submission. They were very upfront, like it's gonna be a volunteer spot. We don't have any money to pay you. You be coming in. I said I don't care. I'll take it because I wanted the experience and I wanted the opportunity to show what I could do. And one thing leads to the next thing to the next, and being that person that believes in that building block mentality and that development, starting from the bottom when I'm here. I had been volunteering for rec ball, I've been volunteering with AAU. All right, volunteer opportunity with the school system. Let's see what this is gonna be like. I said, by the time I get done, somebody gonna want to pay me.
Yeah.
2 good successful years there. Moved on from that one, and that led to the triangle math and science stage, and then that led to the Nightdale stage, which led to some other different opportunities along the way. Wake County Wolverines semi-pro a couple years, and not like I said, now I'm looking forward to elevating once again to college level. Hopefully, I'm also looking to pick up and start officiating as well.
Really?
Just want to continue to challenge myself and push my boundaries out forward and out, man. And I want to be as well-rounded as I can possibly be, man, when it comes to the game itself in that regard. And hopefully I think those things will also spill over into how I am as a man and how I am as a father, a brother, a friend, an uncle, granddad, to be. Jesus Christ, help me, Lord. All of that, man. I just believe in taking lessons and applying them wherever possible, man, as much as I can.
That's awesome, man. It'll all work out, man. It'll all work out. That'd be dope. I thought about college a while ago, but I don't think I want to move around that much. I'd That's why I like middle school. I got to come home on Fridays. I ain't got to practice if I don't want to. It's family night. We watch a movie. I'm good. Maybe when the kids get older, I might do something.
I feel you.
Maybe high school or something like
I
that.
feel you. And that was the main reason why I had not pursued, the collegiate opportunities and things of that nature prior to now, because I wanted to be here for all my kids as much as I could, and I knew that would what the travel requirements would be and the time requirements would be, and being present for my kids was always what mattered the most. Even though I'm spending so much time dealing with and working with other people's kids, um, those experiences also lend themselves to me being the best possible father I can be for my own at the same time. And how it's been able to work out is that when my daughters tag along with me to these other environments and circumstances, they end up doing their own network thing with those kids as well and linking up with them. And so it all ends up coming together as a big extended familiar unit. So that's a blessing too. That's a blessing too that cannot be. I couldn't go without stating that for sure. Um, the amount of connections that have grown out of the years of coaching and everything, man, um, it's awesome. It's awesome. Even with all the negative things that have happened that I've experienced in that vein, I still wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
Nah, everything's to grow you, man. Everything is to grow you. So look, I like to do this at the end of the podcast, man. I like to say a little something to your kids because I'm sure they're gonna listen. A lot of time I talk to kids, parents with young kids, but your kids are adults, so I'm sure they're gonna chime in and listen, man. Give them a word or just something to chew on. Just you on this podcast, fatherhood, man. It's all about them. Give them a little something.
To Zoe, Bella, and Harley, first thing I say is that I love you. I love you more than life itself. I live for you. I will die for you without hesitation. Um, your decisions are your own. I am learning how to respect those decisions and let you grow through those decisions as much as I possibly can. But I'd be lying to you if I didn't say that it's hard to watch. Sometimes it's hard to sit back and not say anything. Um, but just know that I'm always here. I'm always in your corner beyond my last breath upon this earth. God loves you, and so do I.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. I love that. They're gonna enjoy that, man. They're gonna enjoy that. You the man. I look forward to continuing to chop it up with you, man, and getting to know you on a deeper level. And maybe one day we chop it up about theology or something like that. Just to, that's my lane. I love talking about that kind of stuff. Next time I holler at you on Friday, I'm gonna be like, yo, give me your theological perspective.
No doubt, man. I mean, this has been a blessing, man. I'm glad I have gotten to meet you and got to know you a little bit prior to now, man. Looking forward to continuing to grow our bond and relationship, man, and just looking forward to what God can do to us, through us, for us, man, and our families, man. God bless you. I appreciate you.
Amen to that. Hey, this is episode 120. I hope everybody stay blessed.